Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of sleep. My name is Rachel Heredia, and I'm a wellness consultant for Sharp Health Plan and our Best Health Wellness team. My co-presenter is Michelle Millis.
Hello, everyone. And yes, my name is Michelle, and I'm one of the health coaches here at Sharp Best Health.
All right, let's dive in. So today's focus, we're going to talk about why sleep is important, sleep and how it affects your body. What is the right amount of sleep for you? Are you getting enough sleep? And why or why not? How to deal with different sleep barriers that we all may face, how to prepare for a good night's sleep, and how to create the best sleep environment. And then we're going to discuss some different resources that you all have available to you to hopefully set yourself up to improve your sleep.
So let's dive in. Why is sleep important? Well, we know sleep is essential to every process in the body, affecting our physical, mental, and emotional health. Therefore, it makes sense that not getting enough sleep or sleep imbalance will affect our everyday life. Our ability to focus clearly at work may be affected, and being excessively tired during the day can also cause problems with motor functioning. This can lead to poor coordination and slow response time, which in turn can affect our safety while driving or operating any other vehicle or machinery. Finally, our energy level may be impacted as well as our overall engagement. I think most of us can probably recall a time when we may have been a bit more moody, irritable, and not fully present because of a poor night of sleep. So we can see the ripple effect sleep has on our overall health and relationships. Next slide, please. Sleep imbalance can also affect many conditions, including but not limited to depression, cardiovascular disease, inflammation, and physical repair, as well as mood swings and impaired brain function, as mentioned in the prior slide. One thing to note is that our hormones and other bodily functions can become irregular if they do not get the time to regenerate and recycle during sleep. Rachel will speak more about this at the next slide. However, it's important to address how imbalance can lead to several medical conditions noted here, as well as psychological. And in reference to depression, many studies have shown that there is a strong correlation with the lack of proper sleep and depression. Next slide, please.
Let's discuss a little bit of those hormones that Michelle mentioned. Hormones impact physical function as well as recovery. We're specifically going to address serotonin and melatonin on this slide. So as serotonin decreases, melatonin increases, and this happens usually when the sun is going down and your eyes start to adjust to that light. Melatonin is going to start to increase, which helps you with that sleepy feeling, kind of feeling a little bit more tired, and it's time to get ready for bed. Some things can delay the production of melatonin, like food, medication, or even light, especially light from screens. And we'll address that a few more times throughout this presentation. The brain also pumps hormones that help muscle repair, fighting infection, boosting the immune system, reproduction, as well as our metabolism. So just want to mention the importance of how hormones can affect your sleep and how we can control different things that we do throughout the day to help support the secretion of those hormones. So this slide specifically is discussing mental function and memory. So this is a study. A group of people were asked to memorize a bunch of picture flashcards. Then one half of the group was instructed to go to sleep. The other half was actually asked to remain awake. After a specific period of time, both groups were then asked to recall those picture flashcards. And this displays the percentage of pictures that were recalled. Obviously, you see a much larger percentage after sleep was recalled versus those that remained awake. And then as the hours elapsed after learning those syllables, that continued to decrease, those that remained awake, whereas those that after they slept, they maintained that level of recall. Now let's take a look at some of the disease and health conditions that may occur when we're sleep deprived. Blood vessels in the brain help to flush out neurotoxins and initiate cell repair. That is such an important function of sleep, is the cell repair of our entire body. So take a look at some of the problems that can occur when we are deprived of sleep, and that flush out doesn't necessarily happen or doesn't happen as much as it needs to, and the cell repair can greatly be affected. Just to point out a few, we mentioned memory problems, a weakened immune response, gaining weight, high blood pressure, moodiness. Michelle's mentioned depression, even type 2 diabetes and heart disease. So some very significant health conditions and disease can be caused by sleep deprivation.
So what is the right amount of sleep for you? Generally, adults need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. And here we have a breakdown of the 5 stages of sleep. This full sleep cycle is needed for physical recovery and memory building. And we'll just review each phase briefly. Phase 1 is known as the transition state. That's that period of time between being conscious and unconscious, dozing off, if you will. Phases 2 through 4 suggest through EEG brain waves that have studied sleep, it is the descent into deeper sleep. And then we get to phase 5, which is known as the REM state, or rapid eye movement. And this state is thought to be the most important phase of sleeping. During REM sleep, your brain's activity most closely resembles its activity during waking hours. However, your body is temporarily paralyzed, which is a good thing, as it prevents us from acting out on our dreams. One thing to note is that you cannot get to phase 5 until you reach phase 4, so there are no shortcuts to REM sleep. Next slide, please. In terms of getting enough sleep, let's talk about why or why not, or why we may not be getting enough sleep, and some potential sleep barriers. Here we see intrusive thoughts or worries, inconsistent bedtime, not enough movement, stress, kids, pets, illness, and pain. All of these conditions may not apply to you in particular, although I'd bet at least 1 or 2 of them might resonate well. I'd like to talk a little bit about the intrusive thoughts or worries. A sleep specialist at Sharp Health Plan, Dr. Sharma, has suggested an easy fix for this. Well, I shouldn't say easy. It does take some time in terms of implementation, but the suggestion is just to avoid thinking about stressful things right before bedtime. It sounds simple, but if intentional about it, we can set a designated worry time during the day. In Dr. Sharma's words, make a list of everything that has to get done and any problems or worries you have, and then write them down with a solution or next step beside it. Dr. Sharma says, if there is nothing that can be done about it, let yourself worry about it for a few minutes. Dealing with problems and worries during a scheduled time during the day, but not right before bedtime, may prevent you from thinking about those things at night. Again, sounds simple, and it may be take some time to implement, but it certainly can be helpful and not therefore impact our sleep when we try to fall asleep at night. Next slide, please. How to deal with sleep barriers. So one thing we can do is treat sleep as our job. That might sound funny, but if we made sleep a priority as we do our job, then we change our perspective, and we would honor our sleep as opposed to maybe stealing from our sleep, as I often say. Some tangible things that we can do is to create a checklist. Maybe if things are keeping us awake, things that we have to do, if we create a checklist during the day, again, then we can eliminate that from our sleep time. We can also create an optimal sleep environment in our bedrooms by making sure we're ready for sleep. We'll get to that as well. And then finally, using a sleep journal is something that is often recommended by many sleep specialists as well. There's actually a sleep journal that you can access on the Best Health portal where you can track your sleep and identify areas of improvement. Next slide, please.
So to continue, how to prepare for a good night's sleep. Creating a bedtime routine is really important. Limiting daytime naps to less than 20 minutes. Being mindful about food and drink intake before bed. Reducing stress. Maybe trying some light stretches or relaxation exercises. Maybe you have your favorite mindfulness app or activity that you can engage in shortly before sleep. And then beginning to reduce screen time. So our bodies are on a circadian rhythm or a natural sleep cycle. By creating a routine, it helps to maintain that natural sleep cycle. As the sun comes up, melatonin stops, and the sun goes down, melatonin increases. That's why it's important to be aware of light, as it can trick our bodies into thinking that it's still daytime. I mentioned melatonin and serotonin before, but this one's really important because we may watch TV thinking, well, it kind of helps me fall asleep, or we may just scroll on our phones for a few minutes before bed. But that blue light that those screens are putting off actually does trick our brain, and it actually slows the amount of melatonin that is released. So it actually pushes off us feeling tired and falling asleep. So just begin to reduce that screen time as best as possible. Maybe turning those screens off 30 minutes before you ideally would like to fall asleep. The melatonin will increase, and hopefully you'll fall asleep peacefully. Some more tips. Turning off lights, I mentioned electronics. Cooler temperatures is also something that's really important. It's actually recommended anywhere between 65 and 68 degrees in the room where you're sleeping. So that comfortable bedding down there is really important. So you can wrap yourself up, feel very comforted, and feel just the right temperature. 65 to 68 might seem a little cool, but it actually helps your body temperature regulate with all that comfortable bedding around you. Maybe utilizing some white noise or calm music kind of help drown out those sounds or sudden sounds that happen throughout the night. Wearing a sleep mask or earplugs can also help with the noises as well as any light that may come through. And then some relaxing scents in the bedroom. Lavender is often one that is recommended.
So what's the best sleep environment? And what do we do if we wake up and can't get back to sleep? Although it might sound counterproductive, many of the experts suggest that getting out of bed after 20 minutes or so is recommended. The reason being is that we don't want to associate sleeplessness with our bed. So the suggestion is to get out of bed after a few minutes, again, about 20 or so is what is estimated, and maybe do something relaxing, like listening to music or reading with a dim light, of course. Perhaps some meditation, prayer, or some basic breathing exercises. What we don't want to do is go on our cell phone or turn on the TV, such as for reasons as Rachel recommended earlier. Any of that light that comes from those screens can activate the brain and kind of wake us back up. Next slide, please.
So let's discuss some additional resources that can help hopefully support some of those health-related goals or changes that you might want to implement to improve your sleep. So you have the Best Health Wellness Program, which includes a portal, and there are tons of different activities and learning modules that you can engage in to learn more about the importance of sleep. Studio Sweat On Demand is a phenomenal product. We actually partner with them. You can stream hundreds of fitness classes, and it's actually only $9 a month, which is half off of their original rate because we partner with them. The classes are anything from yoga to stretching to high interval intensity training, cardio, strength training, tons of great physical fitness classes for you to engage in. And then we also have our health coaching product, which I'm going to let Michelle speak to a little bit later. When it comes to mindfulness apps, here are 4 that we recommend: Headspace, Smiling Mind, Aura, and Mindfulness. So these apps have breathing tips, body scans, different meditations, and they can all help guide you to a restful sleep.
So best health coaches. Well, as Rachel mentioned, I will speak to this. And as I mentioned earlier, I am one of the health coaches here at Best Health. And therefore, I am a strong advocate for this program. Anyone who's lived a little knows that change can be quite challenging all on its own, especially when it comes to our health and wellness. So that's where health coaching can really help when trying to make any change, especially when it comes to sleep, as we've discussed here. As far as our program itself, it is a 6-week program, no cost, of course. That's part of your benefit, and it entails a weekly phone call. It's goal-oriented, so meaning that each time we speak, we'll set a specific action step, and where the coach can really be helpful is to make sure that we're not taking on too much at one time, that you're really setting some specific SMART goals. And as far as biometric screenings are concerned, sometimes if that information is available, the coach can help with customizing an action plan aimed at improving some of the results obtained by those screenings. And then as far as the programs, we have 5 core programs: weight management, tobacco cessation, a nutrition program, exercise, and stress management. And as you can imagine, many of these programs overlap. So if you're setting goals in one area, you might be touching in on another area. So that's okay. The idea is to pick one that you're ready to get started on, and then we'll go from there. And as far as how to get started, we encourage you to just email us at besthealth@sharp.com. And once we receive that email, a form will be sent out where you can designate your preferred days and times. And we always offer a consultation call first. So that way you know what you're getting into. You can ask questions and the coach can describe in detail what's entailed with the program to make sure it's a right fit for you. The important thing to remember is that with health coaching, together we co-create a plan to help support you in taking small steps to transform your health and wellness. Next slide, please.
With that, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope that you're able to take away some sort of tip that can help improve your sleep. So from all of us to you, thank you so much.
Thank you.